Hey guys, welcome to the channel.
Hello, hello. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We got Claire here, back by popular demand. Welcome to Friday Night Live. This is a drinking game night, so you can make up your own rules. But I think the standard go-tos are, if I say basically, if you see or hear an animal anywhere around Claire in the background or scratching at the door, or we'll add another one, if just a random kid knocks on the door and peeks his head in. And then I think if anybody says I grew up in a cult, I don't know, math or science or grammar or whatever. And yeah, those are the go-tos, but you can make up whatever you want. We've got a bunch of people in here tonight. There's already 146 comments, people in the chat, so that's fun.
Nice. So
the big news this week is that Claire is taking over the channel. That's how it is, by the will of the people. Claire did her first interview with an ex-Sea Org member, Catherine Olson. And according to the viewers, according to the statistics, which we have been trained very well to follow, that her video is I think it's number 4 on the best performing video on the channel. So Claire is gonna do the interviews from now on with people, and it's not only she has this thing, Women on Wednesdays. She's going to run out of women in about 5 weeks. So it's going to have to just be women and others on Wednesdays. But she's going to do those interviews with ex-members. And I'm sure they'll get even better.
Sometimes it will just be women on Wednesday.
And you're just going to do,
it will be women on Wednesday. Either way, it's just a different voice. It complements yours. I am not taking it over, but if I
you're taking it over.
But if I could please be assigned a condition of affluence and have my CSW approved for a day off, that would be wonderful.
She's using crazy lingo. What else do we got? Oh yeah, and she's already got other interviews lined up. And and also, when do you want to tell people if they want to get interviewed, or is there a way they can get it?
Yes. So for anyone who has a Scientology story you would like to share, or you'd like to just talk about what's happened since you left, or hey, if you're ready to leave now and you'd like my help, just reach out, touch base. You can reach me through email from the about page for this channel, email, and I would love to hear from you. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of great ideas lined up, a lot of great content, a lot of great conversations that will be very informative and educational for everybody. So
awesome.
Looking forward. Yes.
And without getting into specifics, both Claire and myself and a few other people that we know have noticed that the Scientology nonsense factor has started to ratchet up a little bit. So nothing that we can't deal with or handle, but whenever that happens, we kind of know we found a vein. We found something that they're not too excited about us keeping to do. So based on that, Osa, if you're watching, hi Osa. Everybody say hi to Osa in the comments.
Osa in the house.
If you guys are watching, we understand, noted. We will double our efforts accordingly. Now that we know we hit a spot that you guys get excited about, and so that's happening. And I'm gonna say that probably Aaron is likely has some stuff happening, and it's great because we're just going to turn it into content, Osa. So just know it's coming. There's going to be content, more content about Osa, because that seems to be something that you guys do not want us to do. What else? Oh yeah, podcast. There's a lot of people that are have requested that I make these videos or make videos or interviews that we're doing available in the podcast sort of space, like on Spotify or Amazon or Apple Podcasts, etc. So I'm looking into that. And if it's something that you guys think we should do, let us know in the comments below. And if it's worthwhile, because I know a lot of people, they just put this on, they put us yapping, they just let it roll in the background and they clean or they make dinner or lunch or whatever it is you're doing, watching the kids, and it's just on in the background. That's what I do. I have stuff playing in my shop all day long when I'm working, interviews or other podcasts or videos that I like to watch on YouTube. They kind of just play in the background. So, let us know in the comments. Usually if there's something, if you guys want us to do something or not do something or fire me and make Claire the boss or whatever, just put it in the comments. I'm willing to let Claire do everything. No. So there's no hard feelings. It's just less stuff for me to do that Claire is awesome at. So it's good either way for me. And then what else? Oh, future videos. So we've got the Claire interviews. That's absolutely, we're going to do more of those. We're doing more spy files. We've got a bunch of spy file videos coming up. Another thing we're going to do, as I guess it's kind of part of the spy files, is if we have photographs or videos of private investigators, we're going to try to share those or create a database or some way where we're going to do a profile on a Scientology private investigator. So we're going to say who he is, who he spied on, like a list of all the people that he's done operations against, any photos or videos we have of the guy. And we're going to try to make him not so private anymore. He'll be a public investigator instead of a private investigator. And also, if you're a private investigator and you worked for Scientology, or you got stiffed by Scientology, or you got paid an insane amount of money from Scientology, any of those things. If you've got a story about Scientology and you're a private investigator and you don't mind sharing it, let us know. We'll tell your story, what happened. There are a lot of famous Scientology private investigators, and there are some that got paid millions and millions of dollars, and Scientology owed them a bunch of money. And when Scientology didn't pay them, they started talking to the press, and they got paid real quick. But so that's another thing we got coming up. And then what else do we got? Oh, we have a plan. Okay. As soon as I'm done telling you about our upcoming plan it's for this weekend, and you guys are part of the plan. So as soon as we're done with that, we're just going to answer questions for the rest of this video. And I'm going to say we're going to go for about an hour, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. It'll depend on the quality of questions and the quality of our answers, because this may or may not have some Smirnoff in it. So we'll see how long I last. That's a lot for me. So cheers, honey. Cheers to the
cheers to everybody joining us. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That was 3 basicallys worth of drink. Oh, now I got to take another one because I said it again. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so this is our plan. So every year, Scientology spends millions of dollars on producing and airing a commercial for the Super Bowl. Now, they want their members to think that this ad is playing for everybody who's watching the Super Bowl. That's not the case. What Scientology does, I'm trying not to get too far into the weeds, but when you're watching TV and you're watching an event like the Super Bowl, there's certain ads or commercials that are airing that everyone sees who's watching the Super Bowl. And those are called national ads. So no matter who's watching, they see those ads. And then when you're watching, if you're watching the Super Bowl and you're in Kansas City, then there's ads that are airing only in the Kansas City area or in that region. And those are called local ads or local ad buys. And so what Scientology does is they do ad buys in major cities where there's a lot of Scientologists. So when Scientologists watch the Super Bowl and they see the commercial, they assume that everyone's seeing that commercial. That's not the case. But that what happens when they do this is a lot of people that are watching the Super Bowl are like, what's going on? Why am I seeing a Scientology commercial during the Super Bowl? And then usually the Super Bowl and Scientology start trending, or Scientology starts trending on social media, because so many people are like, what's going on? Why is there Scientology on my TV? And then that's basically it. Scientology, I think there's one person that we've heard of that got in to Scientology from a Super Bowl commercial. There's only one person that I think is a documented person. So Scientology's not getting a lot of new members. Basically what they're doing is they're putting on a show for their existing members that they're getting the word out to billions of people. Okay, but what happens, and this happens every Super Bowl, and it's kind of funny, but whatever, is when Scientology do this, if you have a book in the Scientology space, or you have a podcast, or you have a YouTube channel, whatever, you see a little bump in traffic, just for being there. Not even I've never really thought to capitalize on it. It's just sort of like, whatever. We sold an extra 20 books today because Scientology ran a Super Bowl commercial, or whatever it is. Sometimes we sold 100 books. But regardless, we're going to try to cash in on it this time. We're going to try to capitalize, and we're going to try to hijack the Super Bowl from Scientology. So if you're on social media, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, and you've got some sort of a social media platform, and you can tweet about Scientology, please tweet out Aaron's channel or my channel or Mike Rinder's book or the SP shop, or just something that won't end up having people go to Scientology's website, but they'll go to all these other things that are Scientology in the Scientology space on social media. That's all. We're just doing a little experiment, and depending on what happens, we're going to just see if we can cash in on that. There's one of two things that are going to happen. Scientology is going to get a little upset that we did this, which is good. We want that. The other thing that could happen is they might not do it if we're going to do this in the future. But then that kind of looks bad on their side that they didn't do it. So hopefully they do it and get mad. And then because they can't not do it, they'll just keep doing it. And then each year we'll kind of get better and better. Yeah, if we have enough resources and we get enough donations, I don't think we're going to run a Super Bowl ad. The Aftermath Foundation's not running a Super Bowl ad. I'm not running a Super Bowl ad. That's silliness. That's more than I make in a week. Pay for Super Bowl ads. Not happening. Oh boy. We're just going to see. So if you're on Facebook or you're on Twitter, if you're not following me on Twitter, you can go to @blownforgood. What's yours? Yours is just @Claire Headley, right?
Yep.
@Claire Headley or @blownforgood on Twitter.
People are asking for what hashtag? What's going to be the
hashtag? Is hijack Scientology Super Bowl. That's it. Hijack Scientology Super Bowl. And I think if we use that, because we can't just say, I thought about this a little bit earlier. We can't just say hijack Super Bowl. Then it sounds like we're doing some Batman Bane thing. We don't want to do that. We're not hijacking the Super Bowl. But if we say hijack Scientology Super Bowl, I think we can get away with that. So yeah, that's going to be our hashtag. We'll put that in the description below, and I'll tweet it out on the tweet machine. And
by the way, give me a minute to say hi to some people in chat. We have Growing Up in Scientology, Aaron in the house. We have Catherine Olson, Stephanie Hutchison.
Oh, wow.
Jackson is here. Anyway, I'll keep an eye out for who else, but we got a lot of great people here tonight.
Awesome. I'm excited about that. That's good. Yeah, we're trying to, guys, this is, if we were just telling the stories of all the horrible stuff, I don't think you guys would watch. We try to make it real and try to make it a little bit, at least a little entertaining, because otherwise, I'm sure you got better things to do, and we got better things to do than all just complain and, be miserable. But one thing I did want to say, and I was watching somebody's video, and I was thinking about it. The people that escape from Scientology, they're not victims. Even in Scientology, they teach you, and you learn through all of L. Ron Hubbard's teachings, that a victim is a horrible thing. Like, being a victim is the worst thing you can be. So nobody wants to be a victim when they're in Scientology. And a lot of people that leave Scientology don't want to tell people that they experienced abuse and all these things, because they don't want to be a victim. Okay, there is a difference when you are in Scientology and you're taking all this abuse. You are a victim when you're doing that. If you decide to leave the Sea Org or Scientology or anything that's abusive, if you decide to leave that and you do so successfully, you're a survivor now. You're not a victim anymore. You're a survivor. So the stories we're telling on the channel of these people leaving are survivor stories. These are people that woke up or something happened and they just said, I'm not doing this anymore. No matter what the consequence, this is over. I'm taking charge and I'm leaving. That's a survivor. And that's the kind of message that we're trying to get out to these Scientologists, because we're hearing from more and more and more Scientologists that they've wanted to leave for years in some cases, and they just don't know how. And so the Aftermath Foundation, that's your survival kit. That's the ex-Scientologist, or that's the ex-Sea Org member survival kit. That's for the survivors. So we're going to help you. We're going to show you all the things that we know of. There's a whole bunch of us that we've sort of curated this thing. We know what you can do. We know some successful things, and we're going to help you, and we're going to get you a job, or we're going to get you a place to live, or we're going to help you get reconnected with your family that aren't in Scientology. Whatever it is, we're going to try to help you. And if we don't know what to do, we're going to try to find out what to do, and we're going to try to work with you to sort that out. So I wanted to say that because we're getting so many people that are reaching out to us, but I also feel like some of these Scientologists, they don't want to play the victim card. And I want to make sure you know that if anything, you're a victim now. But if you get out of there, you switch over into the survivor camp. So that's all. Did I forget anything? Oh, Aaron Smith-Levin over at Growing Up in Scientology, he's doing a live at 10 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully we don't go that long. That's an hour 40 and change out. So I don't know if I got an hour. I don't know if I got an hour 40 in me, but depends on how much of this Smirnoff I can get through. I might get more time, or I might lose time. Who knows? But did I forget anything, babe? Is there anything else we got to do?
No, I think you're good. You covered it.
Yeah, and anyone, this is another thing. This is another thing somebody told me, and I kind of deduced another thing. We got 20,000 subscribers. That's a lot. Or we're up to like 20,000 and 21,000 and change right now. That's a lot of people. Now, here's the crazy thing. 40,000 people are watching these videos, but only 20,000 are subscribed. And I think that other 20,000, that's almost the rest of Scientology. So those are the guys, but they don't want to subscribe because Os is going to find out that they're subscribed to my channel. So the message is, Scientology members or whoever, if you're watching this, create another YouTube account that you can watch my videos on and subscribe down below. Hit the bell notification icon. Anyway, it's all good, guys. Okay. Do we got any questions? Oh, we got super chats. We got questions. We got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you guys are ready, I think we should just start answering questions. It is
let me just give a shout out. Catherine
shout
said,
outs.
since we were saying hi to Osa, she said, say hi to Gloria Ida, everybody. Hey, Gloria, I have a question for you. When's the last time you spoke to your daughter, Marta?
Is Marta out? Is Marta out in the Sea Org?
I don't think so.
Oh.
But either way, I guarantee that Gloria and Marta do not have an ideal relationship and suck. So life can be better.
Yeah, Gloria Ida is the internet, or she was. We have some spy files coming up that makes me think that she's not that person anymore. Because they were doing such a horrible job. You know, you saw that whole, we did a spy file with Mike Rinder earlier in the week, and the thing was to handle the internet. Well, Gloria Ida was the internet IC at OSA, so she wasn't handling it. So yeah. I don't know.
But that was in 2000. That was in the mid 2000s, and even definitely after that, she was still there. So
in 2009.
Yeah, after that, she was
2007.
Still reading the internet. So
either way,
maybe she went through the RPF, or maybe she did some handlings, quote unquote.
Either way, Gloria Ida is the internet IC at OSA, and her husband Gavino, it's Gavino, right?
That's
Gavino
right.
also worked at OSA, and their daughter used to work with us at the Int base, and she wasn't going to see them on the weekends or visiting. She was at the Int base, so.
And she was working there since she was, I think, 15 or 16.
She was pretty young when she got there.
She was, yeah.
Anyway, okay. So are we good? Can we do some questions?
Yes, we can do some questions.
Perfect. Willie Weed says, does that say drinking game edition? Yeah, it says drinking game edition. Hey, we're not, we're trying to get people to come to the channel. If you say drinking game, your chances are likely you're going to show up.
The algorithms are going to be in your favor.
Algorithm's going to say, I like a drink. Okay. Lowlaw 0708 says, I'm listening to Claire's interview with Catherine Olson while I wait. Oh yeah. Some of these are pre, they're
Thank
pre-live.
you for listening. I appreciate it. And thank you, Catherine, for doing that with me. It was a lot of fun to get started. So thank you.
Clearwater Chad says, hello from Clearwater, Florida. Hey, Clearwater Chad.
Hey, Clearwater Chad.
You know, there's a Jerry. Is it Sarasota Jerry?
Yes.
There's a Sarasota Jerry who did a video. So good. I didn't know if it was real or fake. It was right on the edge of what's going on here. Pretty good. If I can find it or have a link to it, I'll put it in the description. Willie Weed says, when do we have the Puff Puff Pass edition? Willie Weed. I would have never suspected something from such a person's name such as Willie Weed with a, is that like a psychedelic cannabis plant there? Anyway, for his icon. K, here we go. Kay Valco, question. Now that you, Claire, Aaron, and Mike are out, do you still subscribe to the theory that the psychs are evil? I was just wondering because my family was like a cult. I'm not going to answer for Aaron and Mike, but personally, I do not think that all psychs are evil. I do think that not every single problem that every single person has to be answered with psychiatric drugs, but I've seen people that do need medication and medication really helps them. And so I think it's a case by case specific. I don't think you can, I want to say if you just blanket say this is bad, period, there's nothing good, there's nothing, I'm pretty sure you might be erring. There might be some good things. Even in Scientology, there's a ton of things that people find useful, that L. Ron Hubbard stole from other places. And I would agree that there are some things that may be useful. There has to be a little bit of cheese in the trap. You can't just have a mouse trap with no cheese. No one's showing up to that party. So yeah, I don't. What about you, babe? what's
do
your
not
take?
think psychs are evil. I really believe that was a strategy from Hubbard to kind of call attention away from how much stuff he stole from psychology and psychiatry. And personally, no, absolutely not. In fact, when we were in the middle of doing our lawsuit, it was pretty tough. Emotionally, there was some really tough times during that. And I finally decided, you know what? I'm gonna go talk to someone who knows what they're talking about and is trained, and I'll decide if it helps me or not, and if it's what I need. And it was very helpful. So, and before I turn it back to you, honey, Sarasota Jerry just commented.
Nice. Wow. How meta is that? I'm talking about a dude who did a video, and that dude is watching this video.
Yeah, I started his super chat for you.
Nice. We're gonna do that. We're gonna get us. That should be one of your interviews right there. We need to get Sarasota Jerry on the horn.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's so many nuggets in that video that he did. It's just epic.
Okay, John Brock. We have to drink a shot if any hosts or guests say, "What do I know? I grew up in a cult." Strict rule. Okay, I didn't know it was a strict rule, so now I know that is a strict rule. Okay, so we're good. Shay Anderson says, vodka here. I had to switch from my traditional Russian brand. Okay, Shay. Well, good for you. See, people are already, people are on board with the whole drinking day. It's Friday. We had a really good week. I think we had a great week. I had a great week personally. I hope you guys had a great week. And if you had a bad week, I'm sorry. The weekend's here, and hopefully you'll have a better week next week.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's all good. Oh, that's sad. Oh, Zenu's wife. Hey, Zenu's wife.
Oh, hey.
I didn't even know Zenu had a wife. I'm thawing him out in my backyard. So if you want to trade contact info, when he wakes up and he's all room temp, then we'll send him back to you or whatever. She said, I just
unfortunately, our temperatures here are pretty cold right now, so he's just not defrosting very quickly.
We had some 0 and below 0 days in the past few weeks, and that's not good for thawing anything out. Zenu's wife said, I just had to disconnect from my Beats headphones, and I felt like a Scientologist. I see, Zenu's wife. Okay. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Cassandra Reiners says, do you guys have a favorite post, or at least a post that didn't suck as much while in the Sea Org? Okay, Claire, did you have a favorite post?
So, no, I can't say I did. I used to actually want to get busted and posted in grounds, which is doing all the like mowing the lawns and all this, because those people just seem to have a really cushiony life. Like, they got to have full meal times, they got to sleep, they always went home on the bus on time, and they got to do their 2.5 hours study. And they were like super, super tan, which wouldn't have worked out for me just realistically. But sometimes when it got really, really tough, I would just kind of in my head be like, well, if I get busted, I can go to grounds and just mow lawns. That would be
Yeah, I'm not sure the daywalker complexion is going to work for that out in the sun in the California days.
I would have looked like a rotten orange.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good. Mine's a no-brainer, because when I was in the Sea Organization at Golden Era Productions, when I first got there in 1990, I was making cassettes. It was in the department that made cassettes. We made L. Ron Hubbard lectures onto cassette, and that's what we manufactured. But before the cassette tape is put into those little the little cassette shells that you put in your cassette deck, they're on these big reels. It's on a big, just a roll of cassette tape. And those cassette reels, when they're cassette tape, they're called pancakes. That's what they're called. That's what they're called in the industry. They call them pancakes of tape. And I was the one who was supposed to check all those. So my Sea Org assigned post title was the Pancake QC. That was my post. That was my, like, that's like, we had these little like engraved name tags, and mine said Golden Era Productions Pancake QC.
I have to add one comment, because the funniest was when you first met my mom by yourself, which is a story for another day. And she said, "So what's your post?" And you said, "Pancake QC." And she said, "Oh, you check the quality of pancakes for breakfast?" That's how clueless she was about what went on at the
to be fair, that's a common mistake many people. But if anybody knows me, you know me love some pancakes. So that's a no-brainer. The job, not the best job in the world, but the job title was solid. To this day, I like that. If you say, "What's your job?" I'm the pancake quality control. Like, that's the dream job of a chubby guy. Eating pancakes. Check. Yeah, needs a little bit more vanilla. Needs a little bit more cinnamon. Okay, enough of that. Thank you, Cassandra.
Yes, thank you.
What do we got here? No Dean. I hear the name Jenny Linson.
That's he's Gino Dean says he's Sarasota Jerry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. I hear the name Jenny Linson mentioned a lot. Was she at INT, and what's the deal with her? Yes, she was. Okay, so Jenny Linson is the daughter of Art Linson and the brother of John Linson. If you don't know who Art or John are, they are the producers of the hit television show Yellowstone. And also, there's some spin-off shows. Yeah, they're the producers of those too. And Art Linson has been a media producer for many, TV and film producer for many, many years. And he's done a lot of other cool things. And he's got a daughter, and his name is Jenny. And Jenny used to be in the Clearwater facility there at Flag, or the Flag land base. She was in what's called the Commodore's Messenger organization. And those are pretty much the young gals that run all of Scientology in their local area. And I say gals because for the most part, I'd say the Commodore's Messenger organization and the Religious Technology Center are majorly staffed by females, and they usually tend to be on the younger side. So CMOs have teenagers that are females, and then RTC has 20s and 30-something females, and most of those also came from the Commodore's Messenger org. I think at one time it was actually an RTC requirement that you had to be in the CMO before you actually were allowed to be in RTC. You had to spend at least some time in CMO before you could be promoted to the Religious Technology Center.
Yes, and it's also true that Hubbard said the ideal age for someone to start training as a messenger, I think, is 6 or 7. And the reason is because then they just follow orders with programmed. No questions asked. Yes, exactly. So, yeah.
Okay, so Jenny Linson was one of these Commodore's Messenger org people in Florida, and then she and another girl named Angie Blankenship, who was also in the CMO in Florida, in Clearwater, they were getting a lot of stuff done for David Miscavige in Clearwater. So, like, he gave us an example. He went at the base somewhere. He said, "Hey, I want to get a mat under the urinals in the dining hall place." And a day went by, a week went by, 2 weeks went by, and there was no mat. He was in Clearwater, and he said, "You know what would be good right here at this window is if you had a piece of plexiglass there, and there was just a little slot for them to put this little paper through that they're supposed to put here, and then that's it, so they don't sit here and linger." And within an hour, there was a piece of plexiglass installed. And he credited Angie Blankenship and Jenny Linson with the response to these comments that he makes getting done right away. And so he brought them both to the international headquarters, and he put them in charge of getting things that he wanted done at the international headquarters, he put them in charge of getting that list done. And from somebody who worked in Golden Era Productions, we would see these people come and go on a regular basis. And you might be able to scare those Florida kids into getting stuff done. But when you come here, there's a whole nother level of nonsense going on and reasons why I can't do what you want me to do, most of which is David Miscavige telling me to do other things than the things that he's telling you to get done. So, and that's a fact. David Miscavige would make a list of things that he wanted done, and then he would, what in Scientology in the Sea Org, it's called cross order. So if I say, as David Miscavige, I want you to put this plexiglass in this window, and then tomorrow David Miscavige says, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm cutting some plexiglass. Like, no, I don't give about anything about that. We need to do this other thing. And then you go off and do this other thing. But that plexiglass order is still in the system. And even though he is communicated, I want this done, it still says that he wanted that other thing done too. And this it turns into an endless nonsense cycle where everyone is trying to get everything done because David Miscavige said to get it done. And usually the reasons you're not working on the stuff that David Miscavige said to get done is because you're working on other things that David Miscavige said to get done. Anyway, Jenny and Angie Blankenship both crash and burned spectacularly. Within, I think, a few months, they were working for me, cleaning out paint buckets. And we had, I was over the cinematography division, and underneath me I was actually under the pre-production department within the cine division. And underneath me were sets and props and makeup and costumes and logistics and script writing and all these things. And so RTC and CMON would send people to us to make us do dirty work, and we would make them go to the paint shop, and we would get donations of paint. Like if you go to a place and you say, I want to get rid of my paint, and that place says, yeah, we take old paint, we would get paint from that place. They would give us the paint that got turned in, and then we would use it. We would paint sets and props with it. But sometimes that paint would be really, really old. And that paint we called the Jesus paint. And so if somebody came to us from CMON or RTC, we would say, Jesus paint, and then be like, yeah, Jesus paint. And then we'd say, okay, you're going to go to sets and props and you're going to clean out some paint buckets and stuff. And you're going to just tell them when you get there, just say Jesus paint, and they'll know what to do with you. And everybody would always be like, what? Jesus paint? And then when you would get to sets and props and they would say Jesus paint, and they go, oh, Jesus paint, perfect. And then we go, and the sets and props guys, okay, so you open up this bucket, and then you would make the person smell the bucket, and they would smell the bucket, and they go, oh, Jesus. And you go, that's why we call it Jesus paint, because it's really stinky. And then you're going to clean out all these buckets that used to have Jesus paint in them and make them new and stack them here so we can reuse them for other Jesus paint. And so Jenny and Angie were doing Jesus paint for us in sets and props within a few months of arriving at the Ent Base. And then eventually they kind of got out of trouble. And as Mike Render explained in the Spy Files we did early in this week, at one point, Angie Blankenship was the whole IC. So the place that they locked up Sea Org members at the international base, mainly the most major executives of all of Scientology internationally, they were locked up in a building, and they called that building the Hole. And Angie Blankenship was in charge of all the people in the Hole. And her post title was Hole IC. Yep. So I'm pretty sure that's a substantial update on Jenny Linson. And then Angie Blankenship caught some shrapnel there, which I don't mind either. So
I have two comments to add about Jenny based on things I've seen in the comments. Number one is that she was married to Tom DeVocht the whole time we were at the base. She obviously is no longer. And also she was actually first at the base in California in the late 80s, early 90s, and then
Yeah.
she was sent to Clearwater. Either way, she's
That was
had
before
a
my
long,
time,
Yeah,
so I don't
long
cover
history
that.
of ups and downs for sure. And she was one mean cookie, let me tell you.
She was mean, but she was also a little cute, and she would, how do I say this for YouTube? She would let her personalities hang out a little bit, and sometimes Shelly would notice her personalities hanging out a little bit.
I had to talk with Jenny specifically about her personality.
You did?
As a result of Shelly
No.
talking to me about that. Yes.
She
no,
said you need to
absolutely.
put those personalities away and wear some different kind of clothes.
Oh, yeah. I can't even say the terms that Shelly used to describe
Oh, boy.
what
Yeah.
she thought about people who do that.
There were
So,
many
yeah.
times where some girls would present themselves in an attention-getting way, or what was perceived as an attention-getting way. And whenever that happened, Shelly would usually put an end to it very quickly. And it was mainly stewards, as I recall. Sometimes
Yes.
like a Jenny or an Angie would do something silly, but most of the times it was just the gals that were getting snacks or, bouncing around, being a little overexcited about the project. Oh, yeah.
A tad too much enthusiasm in their step, shall we say.
Michelle Lee says, don't leave us. Oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to be doing less work. That's my favorite position, the less work.
People come here to laugh with you as much as they come to hear the stories. So
Gary-
I can't replace that. Hey, Jackson.
Gary Moorhead's here. He says, Gary Moorhead says, hey, you two. That's the other thing. There are people that do listen to this on the audio only. And so I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious of them. And if we do show something or we see something, I'll try to say what it is and read the questions a little clearly for the people that are listening to this in the podcast world. OBG Foster says, what is Social Security like for Sea Org retirees? It's usually going to be the bare minimum because they're paying $50 a week. They're taking out, I think it's about $4 and change, 46, 20, maybe $3 and change, like $3.87 or something like that, or some amount of cents. And that's going to SDI, FICA, and I want to say something else, SSI. It depends on what state you're in, which taxes are getting taken out. But regardless, you're paying a couple bucks into Social Security. So when you get older, you're not going to be there. It's not like the lottery. You're not hitting the lottery. But for a Sea Org member, even $600 a month, that's a lot of money, or even $800 or whatever it is you're going to get. That's a lot of money for a Sea Org member. And what they've done, and this is just based on from people that have told us this, because I don't collect Social Security. I do pay into it, and I have been paying into it. But we have heard from ex-members that were getting Social Security. Scientology set up a whole bunch of credit cards in their names, and then had anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to $100,000 charged on these credit cards. And they would take their Social Security and pay the minimum payment on those cards. And then Scientology would have gotten tens of thousands of dollars. And now this person is saddled with the debt. But when they pass away, the credit card companies are just going to go, and they just write it off as a loss. And super illegal to do that. We know this is not like a isolated instance. We have heard of this happening over and over and over and over again. So I can only assume that they're still doing it. This is like that Chase wave. Just look up Scientology Chase wave on YouTube or just the internet. Scientology does not accept Chase credit cards, because Chase credit cards disconnected from Scientology. They said no more, because there was so many things where this was happening, where credit card abuse, or the elderly abuse, or them running up cards and then the person declaring bankruptcy, or whatever the situation was. Chase cut ties with Scientology because of this. And Amex, a lot of people don't know this, Amex at one time cut ties with Scientology too. And it took Scientology years and years to repair that relationship with Amex. And I'm not sure how they convinced Amex that they weren't bamboozling people and doing the same thing, but they are. So Amex, Chase, Citibank, whoever's Bank of America, Wells Fargo, you gotta shut these guys down. They're stealing your money.
I'll add one comment to that in terms of the retirement plans, quote unquote. The other common practice that I saw when we were there is that they would send someone back to the country from where they came, particularly where there was free healthcare. So, for example, there were a number of senior elderly people that were sent back to Australia, to England, various different places, just so they could get the healthcare they needed from that country, even though they hadn't been there in decades.
Yeah, there is at least one or two spy files coming up at some point that specifically have lists of crew that they're planning to get rid of out of the Sea Org. And next to that person's name, it says send back to this blank country because they will get free healthcare. And so usually what they'll do is, if they can't get free healthcare or Social Security, disability benefits, or whatever it is in the United States, they will immediately, after milking that person for all the productivity they had in the States, they then send it back to their home country, broken and sick, to then be taken care of by the country which they came from. And they essentially, I was going to say the B word, but I didn't. They essentially take these people and throw them away in the country where they got them from. And so, yeah, there's not, and when you're a Sea Org member, you see this all the time. So you see these older folks and you're like, well, I don't know. And they work these old folks as much as they can until they start falling apart. They're on the same schedule as everybody else. And then when they get into their late 60s or early 70s and they start complaining about tired or aching, then they let them go home at dinner time. So they still work them for the whole day. They just don't work them for the night as well. So instead of going home at midnight or 11 p.m. or whatever, they get to go home at 6 or 7. And then sometimes they make them do stuff like at the place where they live during that nighttime. Like, oh, just take out the trash and wash the toilets and scrub the showers. And, you're just like, what? It's ridiculous. And then if they're too sick or they're too old to work, then they send them off to the country, or they rack up the credit cards and put them in an old folks home or whatever. But it's never good. I've never heard of a happy ending for an elderly person in Scientology. No. I've never seen it once.
No, and the sad part too is that because I've spent so many years in the Sea organization, they often have no family connections or no family left. So, for example, there was an elderly lady that I knew when I was in the cadet organization in the UK, and when I was 10 years old, she ended up in a home with nobody. And my mom told me about this. I spent my pocket money, walked by myself to go visit poor old Ruth, because it was just, you're like, how can this be possible? How can these people die alone after all that they've done? They were only ever good people. It's really sad.
Yeah, it's no good. Kakutogi Road. Claire, out of all the ex-Scientology YouTube folks, you seem to have had the deepest relationship with Shelly Miscavige. Could we get a special Shelly episode?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
I'll figure out a good person or persons to add to that. But yes, I absolutely worked very closely with Shelly for 8 years. Actually, probably 10 years all told. So yes, I can definitely do that. I'll add that to my list, and thank you for the suggestion.
Awesome. Apollonia Paradise says, I have fabulous pics of little Mike at a Church of Scientology mission, but don't know where to send them. What's the email address? If you go to the About Me page of the YouTube channel, the Blown for Good YouTube channel About Me page, and the far left-hand corner, it says email address or show email address. It's right there, and you have to do it on a computer or a browser. You cannot do it on a mobile app. Thank you. I appreciate it, Apollonia. Thank you for that. This is a good one. Tarkina Myers says the real question is the spy files or the Mickey Wicks shoops that are freaking them out. Love women on Wednesdays, but also love Mark's stories too. You know, that's a good point. I don't know. There's a little bit of a delay, a little lag on what we do. And OSA has to watch the video. Then OSA has to summarize the video. And then they have to send it up to David Miscavige, or they send it to somebody else in the Hole or somewhere at INT. And then that person has to summarize it. And then they have to let David Miscavige know. And they could water it down or they could spice it up. That's all up to them on it. Do they exaggerate it or do they minimize it? Because they're going to take a bit of heat, which, sucks to suck, guys. So then David Miscavige has to say, well, you best beget the PIs on those guys or whatever it is. Send somebody to go follow them around and watch them go to the supermarket and buy cereal and eggs and milk and all that good stuff. And then that person has to relay that to OSA, and then OSA has to tell that to the lawyer, and then the lawyer has to tell the private investigator, and then the private investigator has to show up. Or the person that they're messing with us on some other stuff over here or over there. So it could be a 2-week lag. So I don't know. We kind of started doing the shoops 2 or 3 weeks ago. We've been doing the spy files maybe a month ago. It's hard to tell, but why not just keep all of it going and then see what happens? Obviously,
probably what drives them most nuts is that we have such great collaboration between all of us. We're all contributing to the conversation, like you, Aaron, Mike, Jeff Hawkins, Jackson, Mark Fisher. That just drives them nuts. Yep.
They do, and this has been a tactic of theirs since I can remember, back in 2005, 2006. They do try to stir up trouble between the exes. So they'll tell one ex, oh, this guy said this, and then, or they'll say something and I'll be like, oh yeah? And then they'll say, oh yeah, Mark said this. I'll be like, what? I was there, but I didn't say it. And so then in Scientology, it's called the third party law. So if you and another person are upset at each other for any reason, L. Ron Hubbard says there's a third party, and that third party is peeing in the Kool-Aid, and he's the one stirring up trouble.
The rabble-rouser who's going and whispering in one person's ear and whispering in the other. And for the record, that's why we never engage when there's any kind of disagreement,
Sometimes we say.
Weak. I'm not weak. I will not engage because that's what OSA wants. So thank you. No, thank you. Move along. Find peace and love in the world. It's there.
Either way, they do try to kind of pit us against each other. And I've said this to other people when, any of this stuff happens. I'm just like, just let it go. Who cares? My theory is a rising tide raises all ships. So as long as we're all going towards the same goal, it doesn't matter how we're getting there or how we're doing it. As long as we're all working towards a common purpose, and we're doing it all in our own funky way, that whatever I do is good for you and is good for you and whoever else is doing this. And if we fight with each other, that's not good for that person. That's not good for me. So I try my best to stay out of the drama.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not able. Sometimes I'm weak. Sometimes I submit to my urges. But anyway.
But to be fair, that doesn't mean we always have to agree either.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, exactly. It's just like anything. You know, you guys. It's just like anything. Women in Wogs Wednesday. I really enjoy you guys.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, Erica. That's good.
Thank you, Erica.
Yeah, because she's gonna run out of women, and it's gonna be women on Dude Wednesdays. And perfect. Growing up in Scientology. A super chat, no less. Mark said it was going to be called Girl on Girl Wednesday. That's not what I said, Aaron. You misheard me.
I almost spat out my drink when I saw that earlier. I was like,
Aaron.
Oh man, he's
Girl on Girl. That's a different channel, Aaron. Ruth W says, how were you able to get through the OT level so fast? Orders, yes, but they tend to string it along for public unless there is an agenda. That's obviously for you, Claire, because I haven't even read Dianetics, much less gone to the OT levels. And for those people that are new to the channel, the OT levels are the operating Thetan levels, and that's where Scientology believes that you will get special superpowers and you can move things and control people and things with your mind. Okay, Claire.
Yes. Okay.
How were you able to do that so fast?
Thank you. So actually, this is a Shelly story. The reason why I got through the OT levels is because, let's see, in 1999, I was on a position in the Religious Technology Center, which was David Miscavige's personal organization, that required that I interrogate the executives at the base, such as Mark Yeager, Guillaume, people like that. And technically, I was supposed to have reached the level of operating Thetan level 5 to do that with them, as I was supposed to. So it was a requirement for my position in Religious Technology Center that I be OT, and I wasn't. Shelly gave myself and another coworker of mine at the time, I think she said we had 3 months to get through OT3 or we were going to get kicked out of RTC. And so, yeah, that was the rocket up the rear end that resulted in me getting through OT3. And then anyway, by the time I left, I was in the middle of OT5, and then all kinds of things happened. I'll spare the tech talk for today. So
awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the answer. That's why. So it's because of Shelly, actually.
Awesome. Okay. Anna Phalaxis says, just to piss Osa off.
Nice.
Okay.
Thanks.
There you go. Thank you for that. I like that too.
Cheers.
Representative Jackalope says,
Jackalope.
what was your favorite past lives? What was one of your favorite past lives? I don't know. Does it work like that, Claire?
Yeah, it does. I couldn't tell you, actually.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to. There's no factual proof of any of that. So
yeah, it's a bunch of nonsense. Thank you. Heather Smith says.
But thanks for the question.
Yes. Heather Smith says, great interview with Catherine. Interesting to hear how long it takes to disconnect after the first cracks begin to show.
Yes. Thank you, Heather. Thank you for watching. Thank you again, Catherine, for participating.
Did you guys tell how I figured out who she was when she
Yes.
That's awesome.
We did. We talked about that. Yeah,
That's
it was
fun.
great. Yeah.
Stephanie
about
Hutchinson.
your internet sleuthing
Yeah, it was just me pulling out of nowhere. She's probably from Ohio. Oh, she was from Ohio. Stephanie Hutchinson.
Stephanie.
Hey, Stephanie. Stephanie's slaying it. Stephanie is also doing it right.
Yes. We should link to her blog too.
Okay, well,
yeah.
You give me the link and we'll put it in the description. Yeah. After on the replay, you guys will see the link there. But Stephanie Hutchinson she's not a Scientologist. She's never been involved with Scientology. And she just started fact checking things that they were saying on their website and then just different videos and stuff. And as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie, but every single thing that she has fact checked turned out not to be a fact. And Scientology will do this thing where they get somebody to speak at one of their events, or they get somebody to take a picture, a photo op, and they take pictures with the Scientologist. And then Scientology go ahead and say, oh, this person endorsed Scientology for the entire country of whatever. And the person has no idea they're saying this. And because it's used internally in Scientology, it usually never makes it back to the person. Well, not now that Stephanie's around. Stephanie is writing and contacting all these people and say, hey, did you say this? And did you say that? And one for one, they're like, I never said that. And I don't want to be misrepresented. And anyway, so Scientology is starting to mess with Stephanie a little bit. They're putting silliness up about her on the internet. And when they do that, that means you're a rock star. They're not putting that up for the people that aren't doing anything. For the people that are making Scientology get exposed, that's when they start getting on the tweet machine and start setting up hate sites and stuff like that. So shout out to Stephanie. She's doing it
yes,
right.
And shout out to the one and only Goldie, world's best moderator. She linked to Stephanie's blog in the chat.
Oh, wow.
So
that was
there you
fast.
go. Thank you.
I don't know. I think Goldie might be an AI robot. She's too fast for a normal human. Nikki R says, what's your favorite Tom DeVox story? He seems hilarious. Also, thanks for being amazing, kind, and so entertaining. Your vulnerability and time is much appreciated and valued and valuable. You could make a Patreon. Thank you very much, Nikki. I appreciate it. I don't know. I don't know. Somebody suggested that we could do a membership. You can just do a YouTube membership or a Twitter subscriber. And then for like $2 a month or $3 a month, you get to watch the videos like a day or two before everybody else. I'm not sure if we're going to do that. I was going to try it on Twitter and see how it works on Twitter. Like maybe if you, sign up at Blown for Good on Twitter. If you sign up as a subscriber, then like if I post a video on Tuesday, I upload it to YouTube, but it's going to actually premiere like on Thursday morning or something like that. You'd get to watch it before it goes live to everybody else. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think any of that.
The real problem is that the name Patreon is just too similar to patron meritorious, which it requires thousands and thousands of dollars of donations.
I'm not hung up.
We don't want to be anything like that.
No, I'm not hung up on that. $2. If you're a patron in Scientology, you got to give them $50K. I'm talking about $2 or $3. Ubik says, keep up the good work. Thanks, Ubik.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Okay. R.R. Smith said, wow, thank you, R.R. Smith. Yeah. He says, Jackson, your story broke my heart. I wish I had known you so that I could have been there for you. That is why I support the Aftermath Foundation. Thank you, R.R. Smith.
Yes.
And if anybody hasn't seen Jackson appeared on the A&E TV show, Leah Remini, Scientology in the Aftermath. So if you haven't seen that episode, Claire, maybe we can dig up a link to that episode. We can put that in the description. But yep. Gary Moorhead used to be the security chief at the international headquarters. And
yes,
we
worked with him for many years. He's a very good friend. Yeah,
he's also left and escaped. And he actually works and helps us work with people who've left as well. And he's awesome. Yes, here's Sarasota Jerry is me. I got a crazy sense of humor.
Sure
oh my
do.
gosh. Jerry, we got to put a link to that in the description. I think he did it on TikTok or Instagram or something. He did a video saying it's basically a giant shout out to what's his name? Tampa Brad. And it's Sarasota Jerry. And he basically
apparently he was quite tickled by the earring search.
That's at least a sip. I did say the first part.
You did, but in the video he was very tickled by the earring search.
Oh
we'll
my
just leave
goodness!
It at that. It led to all kinds of other adventures. It's so funny.
Awesome, so good, Jerry. I appreciate it. That's really when you know you got your yourself some good comedy is you don't know if it's real or if it's fake, but it's definitely funny regardless.
Yeah.
Okay, Claire and Mark, just wondering if there's anything you ate in the Sea Org that you vowed never to eat again.
Yeah.
This is a good one, Marilyn. I, myself, stopped eating chicken. When we escaped from the Sea Org, I took, I want to say like a 10-year chicken break. I don't even know what you call that. Is that a chicketarian or what do you call someone who just doesn't eat yard bird? Is that even a thing? I would eat, I'll eat duck. I'll eat, I don't know I'll eat turkey, but I wouldn't eat chicken. And, I want to say probably about 5 years ago, maybe about 5 years ago, I had to eat some chicken. I was somewhere and I was like, yeah, I'll eat it. And I was like, it's okay. I can eat that. If it's cooked right, I can eat some chicken. We did eat a lot of chicken at the Ent base. So I was just sick of chicken. I can't think if there's anything else. I didn't really.
I have two.
In the Sea Org that you ate?
Yeah.
What was that?
So for a long time, I could not eat tortillas because I had the worst food poisoning ever in the world from eating.
That's in my book, guys. Yeah. If you want to find out about the great taco fiasco of the international headquarters, there was rivers of poo. That's what happened. And that's all you need to know.
All the bathrooms were up. But from my childhood, from being in the cadet org, the absolute worst, I cannot eat tuna casserole. Just not.
You don't like tuna casserole?
Cooked tuna casserole, no.
You just haven't
eaten it in 40 years.
You haven't had a good tuna casserole. I could hook you up.
Well, there's no question about that. I just have no desire. So,
okay, doke.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, Andrea, super sticker. Thank you, Andrea. And then No Talk Tony. Thank you, No Talk Tony. My grandson, who is 3, was waving at you and saying hi. Hey, grandson guy. You know, I do have a special connection with babies, if you don't know.
He does.
I can look. If you tell your kid to go look up here and I'll look at this like, hey there. How's it going? They're going to smile. Like kids, if I'm at the supermarket or if I'm at Sam's or Costco or something like that and a kid locks eyes with me, that kid's going to light up. That mom's going to be like, what are you doing? What are you laughing at?
Even just eating dinner at a restaurant, the parents are like, what is going on?
Yeah, those kids get it. They catch me. They just catch a glance and they're mesmerized. I've got kid powers. Apollonia Paradise says, where can I send my amazeball photos of little Mikey at the Ottawa COS mission?
Nice.
It's in the about page of the YouTube channel. And we've got some things coming up, but we're gonna sort of streamline the SP shop so you can submit photos on the spshop.com because the email and also, wouldn't you guess it, our friends in Osaville, they seem to be jamming up the email lines too. We're getting an uptick in, shall we say, email junk. Mm-hmm. And that's why I didn't want to give out the email. So we're going to set it. We'll streamline it. But for now, it's the about page on a computer or a browser. Do not use a mobile app or your iPhone. You will never find it. LK Niche says, someone asked you if you had any good Edgar Winter stories, and you said not really. Well, I do. I was stuck talking to him and his band to a strip club, worst night of talking to him, his band to a strip club, worst night of my life. Taking him and
his band to a strip club, worst night of my life.
I was stuck taking him and his band to a strip club, worst night of my life. Wow. I'm not sure why a blind dude would even want to go to a strip club. But okay, that sounds like a great story. I might have to hear that sometimes. Brian S. says, personal and professional goals in Church of Scientology. As a question mark, personal and professional goals in Church of Scientology.
My personal and professional goal was to figure out how to get out of there.
Yeah. The Sea Org members' only goal in life is to clear the planet, to get every single man, woman, and child on the planet through the state of clear in Scientology. And then once that's done, you can go to Target 2 with L. Ron Hubbard.
I worked hard to get myself promoted to Religious Technology Center, but that's because I thought that it would be better there.
Yes.
And I was really wrong about that, like awfully so. It's kind of like, it's a one-way path. And once you get up, the route down or out or crashing and burning. None of it's pleasant. So yeah.
You can't climb down. You have to either jump or fall. That's how it works.
Pushed.
Or be pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Those are your three choices. Jump. That's it. Jump, fall, or be pushed. We both jumped and it worked out. So more people should try to jump.
I got pushed too.
You got pushed a little way.
Yeah. I got pushed from the penthouse and luckily I
landed on a balcony
on the way down. But yeah, and then I jumped the rest of the way, thank goodness.
Yes. IDK James says, got a bobblehead. Gonna take it this weekend to the Cincinnati/Florence, Kentucky org soon. Nice. That's where my mom. Yeah, that's where my mom works, or her husband works. So yeah, say hi to Trudy Hensley if anybody's out there. Trudy Hensley is my mother. Long blonde hair, and works at the Cincinnati/ I think it's called the Ohio. I think it's called the Columbus org? Whatever the org is, it's right on the border. And I think it's having an identity crisis because it moved from Ohio to Kentucky, but I think they still call it the same org. I don't know. I grew up in a cult. I don't know those kind of things.
Hey, that was a drink. Now I'm going to be the drink police. Great. Lovely.
Input Output says, did anyone ever write a KR on David Miscavige? Is that even possible?
I have an answer for that.
Yeah, well, for those who aren't, who haven't been on the channel or don't know, a KR is a knowledge report, and it's basically just like a little snitch form that Scientologists fill out to snitch on another Scientologist. And Claire worked with him. So what's the answer to that?
Yes. So people did write knowledge reports on David Miscavige. And actually, at one point in the early 2000s, David Miscavige had a project done to cull all the files to find out all the people that had written knowledge reports on him. And those people got in a lot of trouble.
No way.
Yep.
Like just all time, go through everybody's files and make a list of everyone who's written a report on David Miscavige.
Yep, he was weeding out anyone who...
Wow.
And the same was true for anyone who had said that he was who
they were PTS to him.
PTS to.
Yeah,
yes.
so in Scientology, they have a thing called PTSP Tech. And that just stands for Public Trouble Source Potential Trouble Source. Suppressive person. If you are in Scientology and you know or are any way connected to a suppressive person, you are considered a potential trouble source because you are in the sphere. You're orbiting an SP. So if you're orbiting an SP, then you yourself become a potential trouble source. And the way you have to become not a potential trouble source is to disconnect from the SP. And the ways the telltale signs of being PTS are if you have an accident, like let's say you have a car accident, you're PTS. If you get sick, if you get a cold, you're PTS. If something bad happens to you, like say a tree falls on your house, you're PTS. If you have any kind of accident, like, I stubbed my toe and broke my ankle, you're PTS. So anyone that happens to, if you are in Scientology and someone else in Scientology knows that happened, then you have a suppressive person somewhere in your life. And the only way you can get that PTS label taken off of you is if you disconnect from the SP and if you stop having accidents. So you know who you are out there. Some of you have accidents. You know who you are. And some of you are getting sick all the time. And some of you are probably bad drivers and you're crashing cars. you would all be PTS in Scientology, no matter what is happening. If you, like, let's just say you're just naturally clumsy and you have like weak motor control, that doesn't matter. You're PTS. So it doesn't matter if you have a legitimate reason. Like, let's say this is the best one. If you're driving down the road in a car, perfectly fine. Nothing's wrong. You're driving as you should be. And some guy runs a red light and crashes into you, you're PTS. That's it. It's not a debate. It's just a fact. So I don't even remember what the question was, but so that's how that works. I don't know where I'm going. I'm going to have another drink. How about that, folks?
The debate in our house is if Mark is a declared suppressive person and if I'm a declared suppressive person, if one of us gets sick, how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. Scientology. Riddle me that. Okay?
Riddle me that. Yeah.
If our whole family are SPs and all our friends are SPs and even our neighbors, my neighbors have read my book and they're SPs. If I get a cold, who am I PTS to if all I'm connected to are suppressives? And also, riddle me this. Does that mean if I'm not getting sick and I'm not having accidents, does that mean I have OT powers? Because I'm connected to all the SPs. I'm connected to Leah, Mike, Claire, Aaron, Chris Shelton, Tony. I've got the top 10 SPs are on my Facebook friends list. So, and I'm not getting sick.
Pretty much 90% of our phone book has a...
Yeah, we have SP parties and no one shows up with sniffles. So anyway, it's because it's all nonsense. L. Ron Blubbard says, whatever happened to the woman named Mary who would scream in Mark Bunker's face and call him fat? Okay, so this Mark Bunker is a Clearwater City Council member. He used to be one of the OG, the old guard Scientology YouTubers. He was making videos on Scientology, I'm pretty sure like on day 2 of YouTube. And there's a video that he put up, and I'm not sure if it's still up. I might actually be the person who convinced him to take it down, because this woman, Mary, her name is Mary DeMoss, and she contacted me after failing to get Mark Bunker to take the video down. Mary DeMoss left Scientology. She was doing work for Office of Special Affairs as a public. She was not in the Sea Org. She was a public Scientologist. And she was tasked by OSA, Scientology's Dirty Tricks Department, to basically harass Mark Bunker full time. And she did so very effectively. She was very, I don't know if there's another way to say it. She was very mean. And she eventually ended up leaving Scientology, and everywhere she went, someone looked up her name. This one video of her being really super mean to Mark Bunker would show up, and she wasn't able to get jobs, and she was having mental issues because of this. She called me. I may or may not have convinced Mark Bunker to take it down, and then I'm not sure if he ended up putting it back up, or I don't know what happened. But she's not in Scientology anymore, and yeah, so it is what it is. Catherine Olson. Wow. As of 2019, Jenny Linson was on a low post in OSA. I don't know about that. We got to ask Catherine about that. That seems crazy. Hey, Jenny, just in case Catherine is super accurate. Hey, yeah. Jenny, how's it going? Tom's doing great. We're doing great. I would just assume you're not doing great. So sucks to suck. Okay. Calico 26. Whose idea was it for no more babies allowed in the Sea Org? Why was Mike allowed to have kids and you guys weren't? The kids thing changed in the 80s sometime. And I want to say Mike's kids were born in the 70s or like early 80s. So the no kids thing happened mid 80s. So that's the answer to that. And I'm glad. I mean,
but in terms of whose idea it was, that was driven by, David Miscavige, Guillaume, Mark Yeager, to my knowledge anyway. And initially they made it softer. Nonetheless, it started up very bad practices for women that was very abusive, that were then made much harsher in the 90s, definitely by David Miscavige.
Okay, let's not say any more about that.
Nope.
There you go. Broken dishes. United States government and other nations need to send freeloader bills for having to pick up the tabs on abandoned elders. Yeah, I don't even want to get into it. Just like everything else in Scientology, however you think it is, it's much, much worse. And the way they abuse the elderly is, it might even, there's no ranking it. It's just as bad as the way they abuse children, as the way they abuse their own members, as the way they break up families, blah, 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 blah. It's all horrible. And the more you find out, the more horrible it gets. We went through some stuff, 15 years working at the headquarters. Every once in a while, they surprise me. They do things that I genuinely wouldn't think they're capable of doing, and they're doing it full time. They're doing it all the time. And some of these people that we've been helping from the aftermath are telling us stories of stuff they were doing months ago or weeks ago or last year, and it's insane, horrible. And it doesn't seem, we still haven't been able to find the bottom of this nonsense. It just seems like it's getting worse. Excuse me. Shay Anderson in 2002. Desperate kid handed me a Scientology, an S.
Contract
a Scientology
contract on Montgomery Street in the San Fran Financial District in my office to ask Jeeves, and got the 1991 Time magazine article, the impact of that article. Yeah,
a kid in S tract.
I think the bottom line is Shay is asking what was the impact of the Time magazine article in 1991.
The impact was that Scientology got really excited about the project, and they sued Time magazine. And most Scientologists and most Sea Org members think that they won that case. They did not win that case. And I think they had to pay Time magazine in the end. So not only did they lose the case, they lost millions and millions of dollars on the case. And that magazine really did kind of start some nonsense that's still going to this day. So good for those. I think it was Richard Behar.
Yeah, and there's actually a great episode of the Fair Game podcast where Leah and Mike interviewed Richard Behar, which is very, very informative.
We'll put a link into the description for all you replay folks.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. My puppy means we have to take, I have to take a drink. I don't know if you made that for everybody.
What do you mean? Of course it's everybody. It's a drinking game. I just had Mark Fisher starred. Mark Fisher said, pick me.
Yeah, that was for the interview. And absolutely. And Mark, I saw your comment about doing an interview regarding Shelly. That's a brilliant idea that I would love to do.
Oh, there it is right there. Mark Fisher, can you add me to the Shelly show?
Yes,
absolutely.
Done. Thank you.
Okay, good. Taylor Norton. Ron Miscavige wrote in his book that Church of Scientology cured DM's asthma. How is this possible? Rest in peace, Ron. Did either of you work with him at Flag? What was he like? Ron Miscavige worked at the Imp base, and we worked with him for the entire time we were there. And he was great. And I had a really, really good relationship with Dave's dad, Ron Miscavige Sr. I don't know.
I have an answer to that other part.
Yeah, go ahead.
DM may claim that Scientology cured his asthma. It didn't. He still has asthma and a lot of other problems too. Rest in peace, Ron. We had the great experience of taking some vacations with Ron. After we all left, one of my favorite memories is him playing his trumpet to sing happy birthday to one of our sons for his birthday. Amazing guy.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. Valerie, Bulljack, super sticker. Thank you, Valerie. Appreciate
Valerie.
That. Jay Dice, drinking games equal non-zero sum game. Say basically. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
I'm being so. What kind of
not
trickery
sure.
is this? What kind of sorcery
that might have
do you
gone
have?
over my head,
YouTube?
if I'm honest.
It's just a reason for us to drink. And did we already talk about the new DM song? What? Did we already talk about? Oh, DM means David Miscavige, but it also means Depeche Mode. And Depeche Mode released a new song this week, and they got a new album coming out at the end of March. So for me, it was a great week. I don't care what happens with the Scientology nonsense. You guys can do all you want. Depeche Mode are coming out with a new album. They came out with a new song. So you're going to really have to work hard to get me down. No, we didn't talk about it, but thank you for bringing it up. That makes me happy. Denver Stevo. Hi, Mark and Claire. Is there truth that Scientology has had a goal to infiltrate local governments and ultimately change laws to favor Scientology? P.S. Claire loved the interview with Catherine. P.P.S. Those OSA kids smell like poo. Oh, yuck. Yes, Denver Stevo. For people who don't know, Scientology has a dirty tricks department that's called the Office of Special Affairs. And this was started by L. Ron Hubbard, and it was originally called the Guardian's Office. And the Guardian's Office perpetrated the largest infiltration into the United States government in its history. Fact. They had hundreds and hundreds of Scientology agents that worked inside various government offices, and they were going through the government's files and taking out any bad information about Scientology and replacing it with Scientology's own information that they wanted the government to have. And this went on for years and years. Scientology was caught. All of these operatives were smoked out. And I want to say at least 10 or 11 Scientology officials were charged, convicted, and went to prison for this. This was not Russia. This was not China. Scientology perpetrated, to this day, the largest infiltration into the United States government in its history. So, yes, is the answer to your question. Tarkina Meyer, you could make a locals page and people can subscribe for free, and you can let people join for a fee, and you can post spy files after you read them. A locals page. Okay, I don't know what that is. We got to figure out what that is. I don't know if that's on Twitter, if that's on YouTube, but we'll figure it out. We'll see what's going on. Thank you for Tarkina Meyer.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion.
Ron says,
just a heads up, we're almost at 7:30 and Aaron's live starts at 8. I'm just letting you know where we're at.
Oh, wow, that went fast. Okay, good. Well, no more questions. Whatever's in here now is what we're going to answer, folks. We're going to kill this thing right before 8 because you guys commented that we were doing lives at the same time. So Aaron and I are coordinating, and we're not doing lives at the same time. Even though last week, Aaron, I always call Aaron Eric for some reason. I don't know why. I guess the name sounds.
I think it's a Friday night thing. It might have
could be
to do
all
with
that.
What's in your
could
cup.
be the Smirnoff talking. But last week, Aaron said, "Hey, I don't think we should do the lives at the same time." And I was like, "Okay, when are you going to do your live?" Okay, we worked it all out. And then he still started his live when I was live. I was like, "Dude, you're the one." And it's all good. Ron says, my brush with SP greatness. I got to be Ron Miscavige when he was living in West Allis, Wisconsin. I thanked him for standing up to Scientology. His response, of course, I'm a Marine. No way I'm putting up with that shit. Awesome. Great, Ron. That's a fun story. RV at the beach. Thank you for the super sticker. Yes. Victoria Pandora. Thank you for the super sticker.
Thank you, Victoria.
RV at the beach again. Or maybe it was the same one. I just clicked it twice. Angela Grundy says, Claire, how old was Ruth when you would visit her?
Okay, so that's the Ruth that I was talking about in England. As far as I know, she was in her 80s, and I was 10. So, yeah, that was a little strange when I showed up at the home by myself and said, I'm here to visit Ruth. And they said, well, are you family? And I'm like, nope, she's a friend of mine. Anyway, that's how old she was.
Okay.
She was a very sweet person. She was very kind to me, one of the only people that were kind to me. So that's why I went to visit her by myself.
RV at the beach says locals rules.
Okay, then.
So I guess this locals is something people know about.
Yep, I guess we'll Google that.
Pamela Crawford says, Claire, did you see my message that I said you don't need permission to do Women's Wednesdays?
I did not see that, but
okay,
there you go.
You don't need
worry.
permission.
Yep,
according to Pamela, you can do whatever you want.
We're good to go. Thanks, Pamela.
Terry Perry says, just tweeted hijack Scientology Super Bowl and put Aaron's, you, and Claire's YouTube channel, Leah and Mike's too, starting tonight.
Awesome.
LMAO. Yes. Where there's no time limit. We can get the tweet machine kind of warmed up.
Who were the mean Scientologists screaming at the airport? That's if you go on YouTube and Google.
You got to put in we'll put a link in the
Yeah,
description.
we'll put a link. It was Jenny Linson, Marc Headley, and they were screaming, all people, Marty Rathbun.
Yeah, the best part of that whole thing, I've never seen Scientology do that where they just ambush somebody like Marty or somebody that at the airport. They did do it actually one time to Ursula Caberta, the government official from Germany that was investigating Scientology. But at Marty, they did it at LAX. And of course, Marty videoed it, but he must have had like some cheeseburger grease or something on his camera because this is completely out of focus and all blurry. And it's not the best video, but the content is pretty crazy. So,
and David Bloomberg was another one of those yelling.
It was David Bloomberg, Mark Yeager,
Yep.
Jenny Linson, and was that it? Was there one other person? And Dave Bloomberg. Dave Bloomberg,
yeah,
Mark Yeager,
I think
Jenny
it was
Linson.
those three all yelling at Marty Rathbun.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the description. Claire's going to be looking up links for the next few hours. I heard Mark watch South Park with Claire and was like, what the F? Yeah, I didn't watch it with her. I watched it and Claire was there. And when the secret OT levels, they started talking about that. And it said at the bottom, this is what Scientologists actually believe. And I looked up at Claire and I said, are you seeing this? And she was like, yeah. And I said, is that true? And this is where it started. She said, basically. And I've been saying basically ever since. Yes, she did say basically.
Hey,
and I was like,
wait a minute.
What?
That wasn't part of our transcript.
Denver Stevo said, Mark is starting to slur his words. No, I'm not. You silly goose, you.
No.
Okay,
I can
a few more
attest
questions.
to that. I'll tell you when he starts slurring his words. I'll be
Claire
like,
knows.
okay, we're done. I'm taking over.
Yeah, I'm not the I'm not the best person to have to move around when my motor control quits. If you know what I mean.
We have a few stories.
Oh, we have so many stories. Let's see. I don't see any other starred questions.
Okay, then.
Did
Yay.
you Oh no, there's a few more.
Okay.
Here we go. Pam Cardenias. Mark, I love BFG and you and Claire are adorable. My son has the exact same birthday as you. Well, how do you know when my birthday is? What's up with that?
Thanks, Pam.
Yeah, thanks, Pam.
Just roll with it. It's all good.
Yeah, where's my present? If you know when my birthday is, you got to give me a present.
Evidently, you have Google skills.
Yeah. Hey, Denver Stevio, playing a drinking game. Go figure. Hey, that's what Cat Maggie says.
Yeah,
that's
thank
right.
you,
We're
Cat
playing.
Maggie. Yeah, we're
Aaron
having fun.
is
It's Friday
starting.
night.
Aaron is starting.
Oh, okay. See, thanks, Goldie. We appreciate the heads up. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up here, folks.
I guess so. Aaron shut us down early.
Aaron needs to start taking notes
yeah.
when he tells you something. We're gonna have to have a shared calendar or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna look actually. Let's look at the message. He says I'll start a Q&A at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Either way, I don't know how to tell cult. Tell time. I grew up in a cult. I don't know how to tell cult. I grew up in a time.
Oh wow.
It is. It's 7:30. Thank you guys for everybody who tuned in. Hopefully we got to some of your questions. And yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you want to hear more Scientology stories and you like the podcast version, you can get my book on Audible, on Amazon on Audible. You can get my book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology. And if you want to get a hard copy that's signed by Claire and myself, you can go to blownforgood.com. And then if you just want a regular version, paperback or Kindle, any other digital versions, you can go and get those wherever you get digital books.
Yes, and thank you to everybody who sent us amazing shoops and bobble picks.
Oh, we've got so many good ones.
I'm compiling those for next week. It's going to be fun.
So many good ones. Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks for everybody who stayed to the end.
Oh, hold on.
My
Aaron
goodness.
just posted and said his stream doesn't start for another 25 minutes.
I told you. It's done now.
Hey, Aaron in the house.
We already did all the...
there you go. I put it up.
Well, we already did all our our things. You got to get that off before I get the end there. We've already done all the housekeeping and everything. So, oh my goodness!
You told me to get it off.
Holy moly, guys! The wheels are coming off right now. Everybody, thank you,
Thank you,
and we'll see you next time.